Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order at 6:31.
6:32 on my desktop
Okay,
or laptop.
and you gonna moderate?
Yes. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Corrections to and approval of past minutes of October 6th meeting.
I hadn't looked at it previously, but it looks good, so I will make the motion. to
Nothing
approve.
for motion. I'll second. Changes to the agenda.
Well, all in favor?
Oh, for that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes accepted as read and approved. Okay, now, changes to the agenda.
I have a couple of things that I'll bring up under the airline trail. That it's not on here specifically, but when we talk about the trail, Charlie is not here and he asked me to ask about some stuff.
Okay, so,
Okay, go ahead.
so we're on to correspondence.
So I got a note online a few days ago, somebody asked me about our signs. And I was hoping Paul would be here. Somebody from Pennsylvania was hiking and then they really like these. Do you recognize these? I think these are the signs we put on the culvert trail. Paul, do you remember? Do we have little signs with the trails logo?
I've never seen that on the trail.
John?
Hi, John. Hi, John.
Wow. This looks full.
So Paul, do you remember, did we put little signs like this? Paul's online.
On some, yes, on the white ones, yes,
Where did we put those?
just on the white ones.
No, I mean, did we?
I have some,
Do you put the decal on this yourself?
yes,
Is it vinyl?
I don't know.
But, so we didn't get the.
David, the airbrush shack made those
Made the
books.
decals, but not you cut out the.
Right,
thing.
we bought metal for
Okay.
those, Paul
Metal.
cut them, those are like,
Okay.
flashing, I wanna say, that you put on your house, it comes in a big sheet.
Okay. and
Paul
the-
cut those to that
Okay.
size, which was the size that I had seen. I was trying to get plastic ones and I couldn't find any plastic
All
ones
right, well,
online.
these were admired by somebody in Pennsylvania and they
Oh.
want to know how to do it.
Oh, I can write you an email.
Our influence is
Oh.
expanding.
So just as like a testing, I got some stickers from Dave. And we had put them on just the white ones, not even all the white ones that Paul put on his, the little roundabout trail that comes off of the airline trail. Yes, that one. Yep.
Thank you.
Any further correspondence?
So,
Okay, so we're on to finances then.
that's on the back of your agenda. And we're just, this doesn't include turkey trots yet. Okay. But this should be up to date with what we spent on the t-shirts and what we put in on the t-shirts. So I just wanted us to have a report so that later we're gonna talk about how much money we've got to do some other things. All right,
Okay, on to the meeting dates, February, April, June, August, October, December of 2026.
so that's what I've submitted, and we're still gonna keep the meeting at 6:30 for next year. And, you know,
For whatever it's worth, your August meeting of next year, I will be away. Sorry, dear. So you can either see if someone else can let you in, or you can go virtual only.
well, somebody's gotta host it,
Right,
that's the thing,
right.
okay.
Don't we usually run into that though? Cause you're always on.
No, I'm usually back. That's usually my first day back,
Ah.
but next year I can tell because of the date, I will not be here.
We'll deal with it.
All right, we're on to citizens' comments.
You do have an attending citizen in the Zoom room.
And here,
And her hand is up.
No citizens comment?
No,
Yes.
Valerie's got her hand up.
Oh, all right, Valerie.
Hi, Valerie Clark, Elm Road. I don't remember whether I've had a chance to say this, but the signs down on the Grady's Thompson train wreck parking area, they got moved and they are in a much better spot, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good.
Welcome.
I'm glad it all finally worked out.
Okay, so we're on to events. October Cemetery History Tour with Joe.
that went well, daylight, everybody was happy.
Yes, I think it was better in daylight, at least, you didn't have to worry about where you were walking.
I
And it was
enjoyed
still well attended.
Got
Oh,
to
yes.
ask some questions of, I stayed near the front, so I asked a few questions of Joe as we went and, found out some things about the town and its history. That was kind of neat.
So as long as he's willing to do it, we'll support him again. I mean,
I'm sorry, I brain farted on that
Yeah.
and just totally forgot. Like. No excuse.
Okay, so we can recap Turkey Trot next.
All right. Turkey trot this year. Like I said, might have been peak turkey trot year. I can't imagine things going better than they did. Minimum hiccups. I know Lucille felt like she didn't have enough to do because other
Well, they
people
didn't
doing
need us.
registrations.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. I mean, if we're there, you're there supporting me.
Yeah.
That's what counts. We had enough volunteers this year,
Yeah,
so that worked out. We had
we got bounced out.
we had 197 runners, and the previous high was, and I wrote a chart, and it's here someplace, but it's not important. Was 198 back in 2012. Oh, here it is, historical registration. Yeah, 2013, we had 198, that dropped to 190, then it dropped way off to 123, rebounded to 166, dropped to 113, and I took over either in 17 or 18. In 18, it was 141, then 136, COVID, 140, 134, 124, 145, and we jumped to 198. So I think a lot of that was using Run Sign Up this year. Because a lot of those were pre-registration, so they didn't know what that weather was going to be. We were looking at possible rain up until the last minute, and it did rain no sooner than we leave the ground. So I think Run Sign Up did help us get the word out, so that was a win. We also got more contributions through Run Sign Up than we ever got through RaceWire. Geographically, we had 55 communities in Connecticut represented. I've only been tracking this since 2022. And prior years, we had 43, 37, 48, and jumped to 55. Our previous high from Massachusetts was 8 towns. We had 12 this year. Rhode Island, previously we had 2. This year we had 4 towns and 2 from other jurisdictions. This case, it was 1 from Maine and 1 from California. Redondo Beach, I don't know what they were doing here, but.
They were running at the turkey trot.
Yeah.
And we'll do the Turkey Trot, yay.
And I know we picked up at least 1 runner from Massachusetts just by posting, and we had a conversation and found out that I was listening to the same music that she liked, and she had never run a race in Connecticut and came down because it looked inviting, and she came up and introduced herself at the event, so that was great. So from a participant standpoint, terrific. Sponsors, we had 60 sponsors this year. I don't know how that compared to the previous year. I didn't write that down. I know that we did lose about, say, 8 to 10 sponsors, but we got that many more new sponsors and larger sponsors. So that's what helped us gain more in the total amount, which I will pass out to you now. This is not the official final numbers. Did I turn the picture? I got this, I have leave and see for this today. I think there's a couple of bills that have to be paid, so this is not the official town number, but for all intents and purposes, this is where we are at. And we are at $7,018.49 for the 3 recipients, Trails, Teague, and Recreation. So that would bring our budget to 21,000 and change once that money has hit our account. This is still the old form because he still has a sound system and stuff on it. Obviously, he just updated it with the information he had today. And that's all the way to the right 2025 race. So less came from Recreation, but the run sign up last year gave us 30,000. This year we had 4 with RaceWire, we had 4,200 with run sign up. Our sponsorships went from 16,550, which actually sounds a little low last year. I'm curious where that number is because I had us at just over 17, and 20,755 this year. So the expenses, RaceWire and the timing company. Well, the RaceWire switched to the timing company called Time to Try, which is a Connecticut-based company. So we saved about $400 there. Bibs cost a little more because we ordered more, seeing that the registration looked higher. Shopper's Guide cost went up. And the award stayed the same. Yard signs went up. Actually, no, they ended up being a little bit down.
Is it awards that one? One of them says 129 last year, 355 this year.
The awards and printing. Airbrush, okay, the t-shirts went up. Yard signs, yeah, yard signs almost tripled. That is because we had the new sponsors, especially the big sponsors. So we did parking signs, we had to do the new kilometer signs, and again, adding about 15 new sponsors. Every one of those adds to that cost. So that was well worth the extra $200 because it brought in the extra $3,000.
I mean, the t-shirts went up because we had more runners registered.
Yes, we did order more t-shirts this year, so that isn't necessarily a per unit price increase. I don't know what he paid per unit, but we did order more because we saw the registrations were running high. So yeah, we had perfect weather, certainly something you can't count on. I don't think we could ever have something that was just in the ideal spot, not too cold, not too hot for the runners. And I'm terribly pleased and thrilled, and
You should be, I mean, yeah, when
Thanks.
you think that you put on almost $2,000 more, that's really good.
thank you.
First,
So it's always my goal that 20,000 in sponsorships. How well you hold on to that after expenses depends on the runner participation. This year we had that too, so I know the Villagers probably gonna listen to this recording and write their article off of it. But it's all good news, and as I've said in the past, I always hope that someday someone's willing to take the mantle from me and run this for me. In the meantime, I'm still here because it's important, and I'll continue to be here, and hopefully events like the Ask Me Anything, which is next on the agenda, will start getting more people involved in the town, and maybe we can fill positions, especially if we have issues with people continuing to participate, like Mike. So we definitely could use new members, and new members will hopefully take on some of these responsibilities. And this is one of those things that it's really, as long as you have the same person in the rec department, I'm not gonna say it's easy. I have to work with them. I offer my help. I especially with Amanda out, I do things that maybe Amanda would have done. So Brian doesn't get overloaded, but at least he knows the procedures. So as long as he's in place, it's actually an easy thing to pass the baton to someone else. It's just making phone calls. At this point, you don't even necessarily have to find new sponsors, you just try to replace ones you might lose. So, no, I'm still here, plan to be here next year. I just don't, I'll temper the expectations that I think this is the best year ever. Will I stop trying to do better? No, because that's my nature, to do better every year. But I think this is really a great year, and if there's a drop off, weather-wise, attendance-wise, or sponsorships, we still hit the goal that I hoped to hit when I took this over, so.
Thanks, Brian. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, thank
You do a
Well
lot.
done, sir.
Thank you.
That's the thing, I mean, that you, when you took this over, we were making money, but not like this year, so
Now the
kudos to you.
initial, well, in 2018, we had 6,900, I think someplace in here, an earlier number that had us right around 5,500. So yeah, it was under 6,000 when I took over. So I won't say obviously recreation has helped a lot. And again, people that have given me names, Tara has given me a few huge sponsorship sources. Of course, I've pursued them, but I wouldn't have even tried if she didn't initiate the conversation.
We weren't getting a third back then. Right.
Yeah, and we were, as our organization was getting less, so.
It's an
Yeah,
even
Again,
split now,
25,
right?
we were getting
Hmm?
It's an
25%.
even split
Even
now.
split, yeah, back then it was
25%,
25.
50% to Teague, and then we split with the other 50% with rec.
So back then, we were lucky to get maybe 1,500 a year, and now we're getting 7,000. a year, Which is enabling us to consider some of the other things on the list.
And I would say thank you, the kids run this year was fantastic.
More
mean,
people, more
this-
people joined, and I believe Evency gets credit for the bounce house. That was his idea, and it was donated. And
That's
that,
good.
that was a great thing. Otherwise, it was the same stuff as usual, but there was more participation and again, that's a run sign up thing, even though it's no cost. That used to be just bring them down. People were signing up their kids for the Kids Fun Run on run sign up. So they were more aware of it in advance, and that type of thing makes it more fun in the future. Oh, they're gonna have a bounce house, let's go. Of course, that's weather dependent too, and we got lucky with that.
So that was good. I never get to see any of that because I'm out in
I
the
know.
woods, so I don't see it.
You always get stuck out there
That's what-
someplace.
I never make it back in time for that stuff
But
anyway.
still, you being out there is such your guys parking, we had the constables this year. I don't even know how well that worked out, but I didn't
So,
hear any parking problems.
I'll say for the constables, I think it worked out great and they're so happy to help. They really want to do stuff. He's like, why haven't you asked us before? We're like,
Yeah.
we had no idea. We would
Well,
have
we
gladly
didn't have
taken
that
it.
kind of team of constables in the past.
Yeah, and they brought radios,
part of
which
the
was
reason
awesome
he didn't
because
have
I
it-
actually had a woman hurt in the woods.
Right, which
And-
is why even though you miss this stuff, I'm so much more comfortable that I know you're out there and you're first aid trained. So I can't get out there. We don't have an ambulance on site. I've got someone who knows how to handle emergencies, so that's great, even though you miss the stuff at the front. You were saying, Chair?
I was just gonna say, part of the reason that we didn't have as good a crew of constables is that the constable program was underutilized. I will give some credit to Amy and her last year. She sort of noticed that we were doing things like paying for the fire police, which is also a good way, to get some money usually into community for stuff down here. But people signed up to be constables and we weren't giving them anything to do. So once that started to get revived in that last year, yeah, absolutely, I would agree. The constables have been fantastic every time they've shown up.
No, I actually mentioned it to them, what's the race that the Rimacon?
Oh, yeah, that was.
I mentioned that to them because one year, again, the East Thompson Fire Department was out there directing traffic.
Mhm.
And it was crazy over there. I mean, we have a different parking lot and a different setup now. I mean, I'm sure that's gonna make it much easier, but I'm saying,
I don't even know if Ramacon's still,
Do
I don't
they?
think
I
they've
don't
done it in a
know.
couple of years.
This year.
oh,
I don't even know. if
but I
they
told him we
applied.
could have used you for other things like that. And he's like, let us know, because we have a good group of people.
Yeah, I had only asked for 2, and I think he ended up bringing 6 or something. He was,
Yeah, I think, yeah.
so, yeah, Steve was a big help for that. And again, it's a team, and like I'm pointing out, even to potential sponsors, this is the as far as I know, the top fundraising event in Thompson. Of course, Teague has their events, but they cover multiple communities. We used to have the golf tournament for Weekend Warriors. That brought in about the same amount of money as we did. So I was a little competitive with them, but they didn't have that this year. So we are literally the #1 fundraiser. And I think we fund programs that we really need to fund. Especially with pressure on the budget, getting money over to recreation. Obviously, it's our only money. And any bit of money helps Teague and with so many people having food issues now, whatever they can get is certainly helpful. And again, they stepped back and let us do the 3-way split. And guess what? 2 years later, they're getting more than what they were getting when they were getting 50%. Because their highest number, I think, was a little over 6,000. Now they're still getting 7,000. So.
Well, I wanna go back. Lucille took over my registration job and I got to see those kids.
Oh,
this
good.
year, which I hadn't seen before. They were so excited, but somebody did say there was a holdup at the bouncy house because some of them were afraid to slide down.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
But they were-
I miss a lot of that too.
They were adorable. They're like parents helping them like over little teeny kids.
Yeah.
Over their little bars, jump over and everybody was,
Oh,
it was
that's
so
great.
sweet. It was
Yeah.
really-
Yeah, I'm trying to do the announcements, time everything, and it seemed like people were missing, and I was trying to go a little later, but of course, Gary needed it to start on time for his thing. And I love that he's there. I wanna make sure he keeps coming back. And a 12-year-old girl winning first place. Beating
First
two-time
overall?
champion Cindy.
First overall
Yeah.
female.
Flying.
Yeah, 'cause
I'll
you-
say
She
flying
beat,
when
she
I,
beat Cindy Willett, who's won the last 2 years by 48 seconds.
I was at the first turn to the woods and there was walkers coming and I'm going like this. All of a sudden I look up and there's runners. I'm like, oh, like, and that little girl was way up in the front flying.
I think she came in second overall, didn't she?
No, the girl was first.
Oh, yes, she was.
Cindy was second.
No, first female.
Oh, overall, no, a guy came in first.
Well, that's what I
over.
said, but she came in second.
Yeah,
She came in right after. him, and
probably
I'm
did.
going,
I didn't have the times.
Well, they flying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you all for your support again.
Oh.
And,
thank you.
you
Success.
know,
We're all-
fortunately, I'm retired. I have the time, but it can be frustrating, especially since I try to succeed. And it's helpful knowing that I have a team behind me, because otherwise I probably wouldn't put up with the aggravation at this point. So thank you all for doing what you do to get us here. And the people that aren't in this group that are invaluable. Peter Lusso, what he doesn't have to do that. He comes out every year, does the teams, helps us set up on
David Moore.
Saturday. Jeff French setting up the course. He's got his own race to run, but he's always there to set up and break down our course. And that's just great. All right.
Okay, so we're on to Ask Me Anything. That's this Wednesday?
Yes, the day after, or the evening after tomorrow. So Wednesday night at the library,
At 5.
5 to 6 is open, have a nosh, get comfortable.
Oh,
The
okay.
formal event, so to speak, 6 to 8. You know, I say formal event just because that's when I'm gonna sort of stand up and say, hey, here's what we're doing, here's where everybody is, this is
Okay.
how it works. But it's meant to be super informal anyway. I think we have over 40 people on the town side who are gonna be there ready to answer questions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, I will say the last time, yeah, Karen's gonna be there. Lafredo's gonna be there from this group.
They'll probably ask me.
Um, And it's okay, it's okay. I mean, anything we can't answer on the spot, we're gonna get,
Right,
you know.
whichever-
But
Write the
my
questions, you get
understanding
back.
is there's little
I'm gonna,
clusters of tables. It's not the whole auditorium that's like, I wanna ask a question and 40 people have to jump in.
right, it's over in the community
Yeah,
room
but
space,
it's
so,
not like audience panel. It's
correct.
a bunch
It's
of
meant to
tables.
be,
So people
It's-
can go to where
You can
they
roam-
have
you
an
can roam
interest.
the room.
right,
Okay.
right. It's meant to be very informal. It's really meant to be an open house. Because it is my observation that a few things happen in formal situations. Where it feels very formal. There's some people who are just never gonna like put their hands up in
Yeah.
a public meeting, give their name and address. They're never gonna do that. The pressure on that seems like, for some people, it's just too much. You know, we're feeding people, both because for some people at town hall, it's gonna be a very long day, but also because it's harder to be a jerk if someone's feeding you. Right, so that whole way that town meetings or public meetings typically are set up, it's very confrontational, right? You get up, you say your piece, nobody at the table is supposed to respond to you, right? It's not a Q&A, it's here's my comment, they're supposed to thank you and you're supposed to sit down. But because nobody's supposed to answer you, people get frustrated that they're not getting answers. And they don't know any more when they leave the room than they did when they came in the room. So that's plenty of space for all kinds of crazy pants stuff to filter into the intertubes, which it does. So this is supposed to sort of disarm that kind of thing. Now, as a couple of us are going to be acting as referees in case anybody does come in with an axe to grind and, you know, wanting to cause trouble. The last time we did this, that did not happen. So I don't expect it to happen this time, but we're prepared if it does. And yeah, and of course, part of the function of it, there's two results we want out of it moving out of the event. One is we want to hopefully generate some interest in that next crop of volunteers, right? Because recruitment and succession is always a problem, especially on the non-electeds, because there isn't something like a town committee soliciting candidates, and it's hard enough for them to do that even. So how do you get the next crop to come in? And somewhat related to that is because we're doing this as a part of America's 250, it really is this idea of calling attention to the experiment of self-governance, which is ongoing. And if we can get enough interest moving into for spring semester, call it sometime between January and June in a timeframe TBD, we want to run a Citizens Academy. So based on the questions that we get or the vacancies that we want to fill on commissions, if we can get enough interest, we would run a longer series of weeks where each week is a deep dive into a particular topic. This is a kind of program that gets run all over the country. I have actually a really nice handbook on how to run a Citizens Academy from University of North Carolina. All of that is predicated on people showing up. Like I say, I've got 40 or over 40 volunteers from the various town employee departments, volunteer boards, commissions, electeds. But we didn't require people to RSVP to attend as a member of the public. So I have no idea. We could outnumber them 2 to 1. We could be having an informal Christmas party. But we'll take it as it comes. So hopefully it'll be successful. Before you move on from events, I just wanted to call out, because I noticed you didn't put it on the agenda. Is Trails doing a tree for the Festival
No,
of
we are
Trees
not.
things?
No,
You are
we
not,
didn't.
okay. And I feel like there was one other thing. And of course, it flew out of my head. Well, if it comes to me before the end of the meeting, I'll bring it up. But the Festival of Trees things, like, I did notice you. Okay. That's it. That's what I got.
Okay, trail updates, airline state park trail.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here. When Charlie called, he wanted me to make sure there is a letter circulating from the 12-town task force subcommittee that is working on the signs, and they're working on a grant, so we need a letter of support signed by the selectmen for the grant. There will be like crossing signs, mileage markers, it's all based on the Hop River Trail. I guess they've done a lot of work on this, so for the airline trail. But have you seen this letter?
Yes and no. I have seen different iterations of that letter. Neither of the iterations I saw made a ton of sense the way they were written. although one version that Bruce sent me after I made an inquiry to him made a little more sense. The problem that I had with the letter, so I have not forwarded it to Nick because nobody has answered me this question. It says on it as the owners of the airline state park trail, but we don't control the airline trail. So I don't understand why the letter was written in this way. And nobody has answered that to me. However, Jocelyn also sent me a draft letter for the same grant to me. So I wrote an LOS on behalf of the town from planning and development, and her draft letter made a lot more sense. So there is a letter from Thompson attached, but what they sent didn't make an ounce of sense. Why are they referring to the town, the municipalities, as the owners of the trail? There's only one or maybe two
Well,
towns that have ownership of their portion of the trail, which is Wyndham.
well, can we take that letter on Thompson letterhead, amend it?
Well, that's what
And that's
I-
what Nick signs. I mean, the other thing that Charlie said is that some of the signs will be on town property, not on state property.
so that would make more sense, but that is not what these letters said. So I emailed Bruce. He said, call me at this time. I called him at whatever time he asked me to call, and he never picked up. And so I guess the answer is I can circulate it to Nick to sign it, but the letter still has to make sense. And somebody, presumably Bruce, has to answer the questions as to what is the actual thing you're trying to accomplish with this letter of support. Because if it doesn't make any sense, it's not going to make any sense to Deep either.
Well, if you can't get a hold of Bruce to answer this, can we just like copy and paste the letter and fix it the way we want and have Nick sign what we want?
I guess we can. I guess the reason I didn't do that in the first place is because it was so unclear to me the way it was drafted that I didn't know what it is we were asking him to support, other than the fact that it was clear to me that signs were involved. Where were these signs going?
Well, Charlie says he has a copy of the letter. Maybe there's another one. No, he didn't write it.
So he sent me one,
Charlie sent you one.
right, and then I asked Bruce, and then Bruce sent me another one, which made more sense, but still was like, I have no idea where these signs are supposed to be going, and neither would the first selectman seeing this letter. So if I'm
Well-
asking him to sign off on locations, who's got the list of locations? Among other
Well,
things.
I mean, I think that's something that probably the design in the grant. I mean, Charlie said crossings, so signs for trail crossings where they go over the road and the mile markers. And one thing he pointed out is that Deep has a different policy than what we want mile markers every quarter mile for emergency vehicles. And Deep's policy is, quote Charlie, as few signs as possible, so they want the mile markers every mile. I don't know how, I don't know how the grant, what they're writing, how much money they're asking for how many signs. It's just supposed to be based on the Hop River that already got approved, all the signage on the Hop River.
See if I still have it in my.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Is there matching funds? Not matching, but do we have to give money towards the grant?
not us.
Not the
12-town
town,
Task
yes.
Force is
Okay,
applying for this grant,
I got you.
or the alliance, a 12-town alliance.
And I think there was in-kind match involved as well, which is something you can do for deep grants.
But this is supposed to be hardware and installation. So I guess fabrication, hardware and installation.
Let me see if I still have it. It would be going back rather a ways. Oh, October.
And then I didn't put this on the,
I don't still have it, or at least I don't have it that I can easily put my hands on it.
well, when the grant is due, so
Let's do the 18th.
so we need to hustle this through. A letter of support. I mean, we can just,
I'm sure that Nick will sign it once it's presented to him, but I don't want to present something to him that if he comes back and says to me, what is this? What are we doing? That I can't answer.
I probably got the same note you did, Charlie sent it, and I put it in my folder because I really didn't know what to do with it.
I didn't see one.
Now, didn't Bruce want us as a committee or individuals to also send that letter
Letter of support.
in support of it?
I don't know, I was not able to get to the last two or three of, I mean, I'm only like a supplemental member of that task force anyway, but I just haven't been able to get to those.
Paul, have you gone to the last meeting?
No, I have not. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could hear you, Paul.
Yeah,
No, I didn't go to the last meeting.
so, I can try to call Bruce or get in touch and see if there's a final, and, I mean, I'll nudge the words around. And make it something we can,
Yeah, or even if I just talk to Bruce and like know exactly what's being proposed. Something so that if I bring this in, I don't look like a
Right.
dolt. Standing there going, well, actually, I have no idea where the signs are supposed to go and. I don't know, and I don't know why it says
Well,
that we're
I-
the owners
was
and I
part of
don't
the-
know.
part of the grant letter at all design? Like to do an analysis of where.
Not what I saw,
Okay.
not what I saw. That doesn't mean there isn't another iteration that's different. And whatever Jocelyn sent me made perfect sense. So that one was when I was able to go sign it and off it went. But that was from me, from my office. So it is on behalf of the town of Thompson, but it's obviously not the same as the first selectman.
I mean, usually when you do letters of support, you change them around a little so they don't all sound exactly the same. Right?
Exactly, yes,
So-
which I do, but they still have to make a base level of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So, but I'm saying, so that letter, maybe have Nick sign that one, send me the copy and I'll butch it a little and have it come from the Trails Committee.
I could, well, I could definitely find that one because I have a copy of that saved in my e-files. So I can find both of the copies that Bruce sent me too. Maybe they would make more sense to me this time around, but
All right,
I just kept
But
reading
that's
them and going,
something
I
that
don't
has-
know
For
what
those
this
signs, has it
is.
been decided where they're starting? Like, I know there was a question out that, does
right.
it start at the Mass line and go?
I mean, people want to start at the gas line. So that's the last
When I
I
did the
heard.
trails, we started at the Mass line.
Again, if you look at the highway and the way DOT does it, now they changed all those signs because they do them from the state
The line to
line.
line.
So you know, if, again, it ends at Mass because it started somewhere else for 395, but it's like,
Yeah,
if you're at mile 40, exit 40, you're 40 miles into Connecticut
yeah.
on that highway, but.
But this is all something that's in that subcommittee, that signage subcommittee of the
Hmm.
alliance to figure out. It's not our,
Right,
we'll do what they suggest.
well, that's why I asked, I didn't know if it had been decided by them.
I haven't gone to that meeting, but Charlie's been going to those meetings. So,
Okay, so we can go on to grant option.
well, I just want to throw out one more sign thing, and that is the Pomeroy sign. Joe has applied for the Pomeroy sign, but he was like, the last email a while back was like, but you guys decide where it should go. So I don't know if he's gonna get it. So
These
then-
are not formulas for successful grant applications.
Pomeroy, what's the
the
Pomeroy?
Pomeroy, those fancy ones with a historical marker. We talked.
It's a
about
nice
that
program. You've
before.
seen them a million places
Oh.
across the
So
country.
he has submitted the language and stuff, but I don't, we'll just see if it, you know, it seems like. It's a sign that should be near the train wreck park, right?
Yeah, yes, that's where it should be, because,
But it's not visible from the road, so.
Well-
Let's talk about it.
you know. Well,
All right, so now that grant
So,
for us,
Now, before you start, I did want to say, I think Karen knew this, I did invite Nick to be here tonight because it's in every other month and it would be a good introduction to him to trails. I reminded him only about 2 hours ago, sadly, because I forgot to remind him, but he did say to remind him day of, but he did have another meeting from 6 to 7. I told him we usually go to 8, but I don't know if his meeting will end in time or if he wants to do 2 in a row. But in case he comes in, I'm guessing, I don't know, that it might be his RTC meeting because the DTC meeting is ongoing right now that I skipped to come here. So,
well, if he doesn't come, then you
I
and
was
I
hoping to have,
make an appointment
yeah,
to sit
I was
down.
hoping it'd be less formal where he could hear this presentation and maybe offer us some guidance as far as what the town might be able to do to help with the DPW. But unless he shows up as we progress, then we don't have that today.
So
Okay.
I saw Kim Bradley today, because I was at the Connecticut RC&D end of year meeting down in Stonington, and Kim was there. So, she asked me, because I guess she's aware that you must have contacted Kim to ask her some questions about it.
Well, I way back, not way back, but I asked, was there any option for the state to be doing any surfacing?
So what she said to me was that in order for Thompson to proceed with this, if the intent is that it's going on the airline trail or any other state trail, they need to give permission first. And she feels like she doesn't have enough information based on, it's another one of these, they need more details. So I know you've been trying to get details, like I saw the email that you copied me on from that guy, Andy. And it looked like he called out some more variables.
So I didn't give you a copy of that. Yeah. Right, so he had a bunch of questions and he came out with a totally different number of tons than we did. And so I don't know, I didn't get back to him yet because I knew we were having a meeting. So the question is, do we want to try to rush this through for this grant and figure this out? Because this is not my area of expertise to figure out how much stone dust. I checked the depth, we have the depth from the state, from Matt Quinn. And
And the width,
Brian did a length and width thing,
only up to the train wreck part, not to the,
not to the mass line.
not to, but our number that we were estimating based on what we had probably still gave us enough to do all the way to the mass line and add to the existing stone dust going into Mechanicsville. What I couldn't answer was the labor part, and I wasn't part of this when that was done on the existing part of the trail, so. And I would assume the same thing that Kim said, that you can't just go out and do this on a state trail without them knowing what's going on, so.
But
My question is, who did this? Who arranged it back then? Was it Ken Mosley? How was this, how did this work mechanically? Cause I think DPW put it down back then, but no,
No.
how did it work?
The town put it down.
Did
Yeah.
it?
The town put it down. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
but all
I
the
thought
mobile
they did.
stuff before they. do
So
all
the
that?
state came in and did the tree cutting and I think doing all that stuff. I don't know. I only walked the trails and I wasn't actually part of the trails committee, but it wasn't the town equipment that was there. And then for the stone dusting, it took years for the stone dusting to get done in the part that is done. And I believe that was done by the town.
I thought the town.
Right,
that
because
was
I
when
think
I
the
was
state
at-
provided the stone dust at the DPW garage, and then they took it out in the dump trucks, and then they used like the loader and spread it and rolled it.
Which
and
would
did
make the
that.
cost even less because this was based on delivered wherever we needed. It'd probably be cheaper if it's all delivered to one spot or.
Well, I
don't
didn't
know.
see, that's what I couldn't, why I asked.
So
Andy.
this is the first time I see this, because some of the stuff is like, is there any tree cutting or clearing? I don't think any of it needs to be done.
Well, these questions came from all right, I met this guy at the South Bridge ribbon cutting and they had done the trail there, so.
Yeah.
I just sent him the first part of this note is all I knew about it, and so that's what I sent him. And he came back with these questions, which I haven't answered yet.
Well, we definitely have bridges with weight restrictions. But they worked around that one over, on the section they did.
Right, and there's roads that you can get to
You get to
The-
either side of the bridge. without needing
either
to
side of the
track
bridge.
over.
One is kind of a little bit of a long, that's the longest one where it's
My
needed the
question
most.
would be the sand dam area because it gets so thin over there, whether or not there's any major cutting to increase the width.
Well,
But you're
before we-
not, you can't do it, what is a 10-foot wide trail that
Yeah.
it said? I don't think you've got 10 feet there just by our mowing. It's, you're lucky to have
But-
maybe.
I mean, my
4 feet.
question is, do we know enough to be able to do a grant in 2 weeks?
It would be really
Really?
hard
Yeah.
for me to write a grant that answers all the questions that need to be answered like, could I physically do it with the information in hand?
No.
Probably, but I'd be faking a lot of it,
Hmm.
which means it's not likely to be a good application. I think you are better off taking the time between now and next fall
I was gonna say, if you
to
can do this
decide that you want to do
again next
this.
year.
Yes, and get all of this detail in hand, because remember, on the airline trip, on the Great East Thompson train wreck park thing, it was 2 grant applications. The first one was for design. And then the second one was the construction. And we already had a lot of background information that had been done. We'd had surveys done, people had been working on it in a sort of to the extent that we could for years. We could actually answer quite a few questions. But even then, I didn't get the full grant the first time through. It was designed first. So, and we had ARPA funds to match to match
Right,
in that.
so even though we have some funds to play with here for matching, I don't personally know how to, I'm not an engineer. Do we need engineering design? Do we need somebody out there? I haven't even been on half of this part of
Well,
the
that was my question, is that what did we do before? Because if we're doing grants, do we need much more engineering compared to what we did before?
So just based
Would
on
Mary
these,
Ann Shinati know what happened before? Would that be a source to reach out to?
about what?
What was
Ooh.
done when the trail was done last time? 'Cause
You
she
mean when the
was-
last time it was surfaced?
Yeah, because she was the.
Oh, I have no idea. So you could ask her at Putnam. I don't know what she would know or not know.
Because,
But
yeah,
just
I
looking-
think, I
just
think the
looking at the
timeframe's too
first
short to get
question
it this
here.
year. But we have the money now, as long as we don't throw that money at something else. We have the money, which is my point, to get a matching grant to cover the labor. But if it waits another year, We've waited 7 years already, so.
And the state is committed to doing the grant program. Kim told me this. The state's committed to doing the grant program 1 more year, but after that,
mm,
it's up in the air, partly based on the mess that is the federal government, the fact that they're pulling all of the aid away from states for things that people rely on, like healthcare, food assistance. So after this year, the states may be forced to pull back on some of the more discretionary grant programs. So I certainly think you can put it off 1 more year. But if you're gonna do it, make the decision now, and then let's make a part of these meetings every time, pushing that ball further down the court, so that by the time the NOFA comes out, we can essentially write it in a day, because we'll have all the information. But just this first question from this guy, Andy, will erosion controls need to be installed before any construction activities? Well, I can't answer that question without knowing the exact section of the trail and whether it has wetlands implications. For example, near the train wreck park, we know there are no wetlands implications because we've had it surveyed, right? But you're talking about a 3-mile stretch. I don't know how far, right?
there
So,
are wetlands off that section after Old Davis.
so what might
They're
be
below
worth,
the trail, but I know there's like swampland and stuff over there. It's
what
undeveloped.
might be worth your time is having a conversation with Daniel, who did the initial survey. Tell him what you're considering. Ask him what he thinks would be required from a surveying and engineering standpoint. If he comes back to you with a very low figure, couple grand maybe, it would probably be worth your time to go into your kitty and pay for that engineering
Mhm.
to prep you. Part of the problem with getting quotes from outside vendors, like good quotes, which is not to say I haven't done this, technically, they're not supposed to bid if they give you a quote, because they're privileged in providing the bid. It's not a blind bid. If I gave you the cost, I already know the number I have to hit, as opposed to anybody else.
So what we also need is, I mean, I don't know what companies would be doing this, and what I didn't understand is like, Rawson is gonna deliver. Where are they gonna dump all 400
that's-
tons of.
Again, goes back
It's
to
gotta go 3
So being
miles
the-
down.
Nick and
the
DPW,
company-
do we have the space at DPW?
DPW is not gonna do it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They're not gonna do it. I've already had this conversation with Nick. They are not going
You
to
have
do it.
with Nick, not
I
with
have-
Amy, with Nick.
with
you
Nick.
have. All right.
They're not gonna do it. They're just not gonna. They have to use those limited funds they have in their budget to do actual paving, which are things that citizens actually want, even though there's actually more economic benefit from putting a surface down on a trail.
Oh, of
True
course.
story.
I mean,
But
if you
whatever.
have the money to pay.
Regardless,
This
that's,
past year they didn't, but they also ended up with a 6-week furlough and lost all that labor, so.
right, so regardless, their DPW is not gonna do it.
But can it, what you asked, can the stone dust be delivered there? I mean, you don't just dump a pile of stone dust in the middle of the.
Well, if they're not,
trail
gonna- yeah,
That's what they did in
or the
Southbridge.
parking lot. They just, what, dumped it where?
They put piles on the trail and then they had work days and they went out and spread that stuff down.
Well, would Rawson do that in his delivery, go down the trail?
You'd have to ask him that question.
Now,
B and W Paving, the company that just did all that work up there, they would definitely be equipped to do that. But I have not sent this to Ken because I don't want to shut him out of the bid.
I see,
Hmm.
okay.
And another thing that Daniel could do as a part of the engineering is they can give you an engineer's cost estimate. So that takes that hunting for the bid from a vendor who then gets frozen out of the bidding process, that takes that off the table. That is another reason why it would be worth your time. And if Daniel might tell you he's too busy as well, he might refer you to somebody else. But they would be the natural people to do it because they've already done all that other work and they're sort of invested in the project.
And they're here.
And they're right here.
Has anybody ever heard of Piapi Construction in Southbridge?
Yep,
Cause he didn't get back to me, so that was another option. Just, yeah, you know,
I know the gentleman.
Well, if it goes out to bid with real specs, then it becomes interesting to those companies.
well, I wanted to know, was he even interested, and he didn't get back to me, but, cause he just asked one company, okay. I don't understand the bid process, so.
Well, you gotta get
Alright.
Now,
multiple bids, that's, I mean,
But,
Now, there
yeah,
is an
but
open
if they
question
give
to
you a
me.
quote, they can't bid, so I will just,
no, if they do the engineer studies and tell you what it's gonna cost to
Right.
do it, they can't be part of the bidding process. They do the job, is what you said.
Right, so if we're talking about the eventual grant funds, right, the
Right.
grant funds are public money. So using public money, there is a requirement to go out to bid, and the requirements are slightly different depending on the amount of the project, like they're over $1 million is one set and under $1 million is another, and I think under $500,000 it's another. There's different levels
Yep.
of how you have to go out to bid. But in none of them would it be kosher for you to solicit a quote and then
Yeah,
turn
I
around, yeah, so that part
understand.
I understand you get. So an engineer's estimate
okay,
is based on, like, they have manuals with what the cost per ton, per square, per cubic yard,
Yep.
and in that process, they're gonna be basing those estimates on their survey and engineering work, so it's tied to objective reality. Then it becomes something that is easy to tell the narrative. The people reviewing it at Deep will know what they're looking at, and the eventual bidders will know what they're looking at. So it would be, since you guys are in control of your own funds, and you wouldn't have to bid because they're not taxpayer dollars. You wouldn't have to bid for the engineering services. You can just contract those.
Right.
So that would be what I would recommend you do. Like, if you really want me to, I will slap something together, but I do not feel like I have enough information to do it. And
Alright.
Kim did not seem
no.
bullish
I
on
was
this, so.
Mhm.
Too rushed, anyway, yeah.
To whatever, that's fine, if the plan going forward is to try and put in and get the information together so we can do this in next year's grants.
Right, so
that
treat it
we
the
know
way
it's
we
gonna
treated
come.
all the stuff for developing the train wreck park plans. We methodically hit all of the points.
And at some
So
point
by the
next
time
year, we
you're in-
may have more information or progress regarding the erosion around 200. And maybe when they start to replace that bridge, they're gonna do that, I don't know, we can always dream. But that's also part of the issue, that if we want the trail done, we'd like the trail done.
Okay,
Okay,
everybody, Paul, you okay? Everybody okay?
Yeah, okay.
all right, so,
So do we need a motion to? Or get it, wait till February, I'll talk to Daniel Blanchett, and in February, if we like the estimate, if he's willing, we'll vote on it then.
That seems like
Okay,
a
all
good
right.
course of action.
okay, we're on to the trail counter. Which counter to retain?
Okay, so I don't know if Charlie put in any hours, but I put in about 5 or 6 hours on counting both counters. And then when I submitted that data for the calibration of the counters, they said, which counter do you want to keep? So obviously they're not gonna let us keep 2 there.
My word, I think we should just keep the one that we've originally had, because then we can look at what is done over the long run,
Yeah,
as opposed to, then we put the train wreck site in and we moved it to the other place.
I'll tell you that when I was sitting out there, and like the first time I tried to do both counters at the same time, so I'm sitting in the middle of the parking lot and I timed myself back and forth, so I could see when they came over the crest of the hill and went past the counter and gave them a certain number of minutes, and so I don't know how, it was within a minute, probably accurate. But at any rate, most people that day came to do the tri-state marker. And I was pitching, I would talk to everybody in the parking lot and say, so there was a scout troop there the first time, and so they went up to see the train stuff. But most people were coming to do the tri-state.
I'll say this, on Friday, my daughter said, let's go for a white walk. I haven't gone for a walk, so we went to the tri-state marker. We passed 26 people.
Yeah.
Either coming towards us, going like while we were there, and that was the day after Thanksgiving. And it was cold and not the nicest of days.
Well, that's like a thing that people do, is look for state markers on trails, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's particularly.
And the
I
tri-state
didn't put
marker. It was just on Chronicle too, not that long ago.
And
2 weeks ago, I may want to say it was on Chronicle. It was more of a look from Douglas, but they actually went to the ice cream place in Quodic.
so a la mode.
They went there. A couple other places they did in Thompson, and they did some filming in Thompson, and they didn't really talk about the train wreck park at all.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I wish they would have, but they did go to the tri-state marker and talked about the different things and the different trails, but then they went to Douglas and talked about Douglas. and
Well,
stuff too,
the
but-
tri-state marker has years and years and years of being on people's lists,
Right.
right? The interpretive park is
The
3 months old.
Mm.
So,
So are you gonna keep them both or get rid of one?
No, they want us to only have one,
Oh, okay.
so I'll just write them and say we want to keep.
I mean, unless somebody wants to see how many people go to the train wreck park, but I'm just saying for statistical data to say, and this year we had this many, and this year we had, like, now we're moving it, and we're changing the data. I don't know, just my initial thought.
I think it's gonna take a while for that interpretive park to build regional word of mouth, as opposed to something that already exists and is on people's radar.
We'll keep the original. Two
No
votes.
objections from anybody, so I'm fine. Okay, I'll let them know. I mean, they might let it sit there for another 6 months. I don't know whether, they're gonna come out and pick it up. And I sent you, I couldn't open their spreadsheet, but, they sent all the data from the counts and stuff. So, in case you need it for.
Well, I might have needed it, so just, but I'll use it next year. I'll use the updated data next year.
Okay, we got the Great East Thompson Train Wreck Park. Next step. Or steps.
So there is a little money left in the grant. I am waiting for my last payment request that I sent in, which is now 2 months old. So I can pay B&W for work that they've done up to this point, before I talk to him about expending the remainder. And that would be on the traffic calming stuff. When there was some question as to whether we budgeted it properly, because of the extra work that got done on one of the foundations that wasn't in the original budget. I had told Ken to get it to the point where we got it, right? That we knew we had to get that landscaping done between the private home and the hydro seeding and a couple of other things. So I thought we were just gonna have a couple grand left, but I apologize for not knowing the actual figure, but it's enough to get some stuff done of that traffic calming that was in the original plan that we backed off when I was not sure we were gonna be able to get everything done. So Ken already knows that I'm likely to go back to him. We haven't technically, I mean, I'm still getting weekly labor reports for labor they're not doing, because that's a requirement until the grant is closed.
But so what could we, like painting
Yeah, it's,
on the road?
it's road
Or
striping.
Not
And
as flashing sign.
I don't believe it was enough for and an RRFB was never in the budget anyway. As I recall, it was pavement markings, maybe some additional signage, and possibly a raised crosswalk, although DPW was not crazy about that idea.
What about the rumble strip idea I sent to you? Do you recall that? I had a ride up to a Corvette weekend up in Massachusetts, and we were going by some state or local parks, and there were trails there. And approaching the crosswalks, they had basically like the highway rumble strips.
Yeah, that would be an option too.
But
for sure.
it crossed the entire lane of your road, and I noticed it right away, because it was like in 3 separate sections and and it isn't a bump where it would be a problem for a plow to go through that could cause issues for the winter. These are just cut in just like a highway side, and you hear it when you're going.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Valerie, I saw your chat comment. I actually ordered some no parking signs for that area. Just out of the trails budget. I would be surprised if DPW doesn't have them already, and I believe they were gonna do those for me, but I haven't heard from
The
Joe.
ones that are behind the trailer parking to say no parking.
Right,
along-
across from the
All right,
trailer.
because one of the days I was there, everybody parked along that.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was an area that we all agreed would benefit from having those, and I did order them. Joe has not told me that they're in, that doesn't mean that they're not in, and I haven't followed up with him, but I can find out. I mean, I ordered them a while ago, so I'd be surprised if they weren't in, but who knows how long things take.
Are they also gonna put them up?
I believe he had agreed to put them up at the time that I ordered them, because I had asked him who they use for their street signs and stuff, so he knew I was ordering them in for them. That'd be nothing, that's not like major work for them.
Did we allot enough money for that? You don't know what they're gonna cost?
I didn't come
yet?
back to ask you for more, no, I've already,
Okay, all right.
I already had the check written.
So that must be in here.
It wasn't much, it was negligible.
East Coast Sign and Supply, no parking signs, 194. Okay, that's on there.
Yeah. It was negligible cost.
Maintenance and work days, too cold.
Well, what was done this fall, went out once or twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've mowed the trail all the way to Mechanicsville and back. There's a few trees that need to be cut down sometime, but I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of nice days left to do it. If there is, I might go down and work on it.
Are those trees across the trail or just overhanging?
They're kind of like hanging over the trail. You can go under them, whatever. They're just kind of hanging trees. Eventually, they may fall down.
So I have a question then. So one of the things that Karen had sent was about the bike workstation and measuring the pad and determining where we want to put it in Mechanicsville so that we can present that to DEP, I think, for permission.
Right, they want us to flag
Yep.
the area where we're gonna put it, and then they'll come out and say that's okay.
So I wanted to see what people thought. I don't exactly know. Should it be like on the other side of the gate, on the side of the trail, or should it be behind the kiosk, on the side of the kiosk? I'm not sure what other people think, so that's why I figured I'd ask.
Where the kiosk is, gets really overgrown with, I mean, really high weeds back there. I mean, if we put in a cement pad, is that what we're doing? Another
Yes.
Cement pad, that will take care of that weed problem, so the closer to where we want it open.
Right, but I'm saying if you go to the kiosk, there's a spot that I think that it would fit just to the left of the kiosk. Or it could fit behind the kiosk. Between like the tree line and the kiosk, or it could fit to the right of the kiosk, because there's space on all parts around that kiosk. There's plenty of room over there. Mowing, yes, is an issue over there with that.
I would think to the left. As you're closer to the trail.
Because you're closer to the trail over there, yeah.
And you don't wanna be behind the kiosk, I'd rather be to the left and the right.
And then my only other question is, if you look at the pad that they poured over there, it's like. It goes lengthwise like 10 feet, but then at the end, there's an L part that jogs out. That's like 7 feet wide and goes like another 8 feet to the left. I don't know why that part is over there. It's like a big L.
Right.
Like, I don't know what that is.
I think,
So I think originally, they were gonna put that in for a bike rack.
That makes sense.
So do we need that at the other place, or just to the pad where the bike repair station is?
I would just do
I
the
think
repair
the
station.
it was 5 by 8, the pad.
I haven't written down, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I measured it all.
I think just the pad.
Okay,
Yeah, just the pad. John, it may be interesting to go to Putnam and see what they used for a pad on theirs. It's probably a lot smaller than that.
it is, okay, by the dog park, that one?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I'll take a look out, I'll go take a look out there and do some measurements there, and then. You said you wanted, so we have to submit something to them, so do you want me to like put stakes
Put a
in the
stake with
ground
some-
and then some
Some
pictures and,
survey tape, and then they can go at their leisure and see where we want it,
okay,
so that we don't have to meet them there.
okay. Okay, I'll take care of that, and I'll send you some pictures when I have it, so then we can let them know, so hopefully that can be a spring project for us to. Get the pad poured, whether we're just gonna do it or have somebody do it, and then put the bike rack on there. And I don't think they preset the anchors. It looks to me like they drilled the anchors in there. Paul, you would know that more.
yeah, they drilled them in after they poured it.
Okay,
Do we have equipment to do that?
but yeah, I mean, it's a drill. You need a special bit, but I mean, it's nothing crazy.
Okay.
Quinnebog River Rail Trail.
Oh. I'll just leave this really brief. I'm gonna talk to Nick about this, but I recently, not so recently, but I met the new P and W guy who's based in Worcester. And he didn't know anything about all the things that we've talked about that piece that goes from Dudley to Quinnebog. And so we've been postponing a meeting. I had invited, his son does track, and he was invited to the turkey trot and stuff, but I don't think they came. So anyway, I'm gonna sit down with him, but I want to talk to Nick, because if we're not gonna still, even if we don't get a trail through there, even if we don't control what's going on there, they should be paying taxes. They've never paid taxes, the railroad. So I just want to see what they, in the selectman's office, before I talk to this guy at P and W. And see what's what. There was also, Meg, there was a water, a wetland issue over there recently in that piece. So that's why I met this guy. And somebody had done,
Is this the issue related to the Cordis property?
yes,
Yeah.
somebody had messed up the drainage and the railroad was responsible for fixing it. And so they had to do all these engineering studies, and it went through the wetlands office and stuff. So that's how I met this guy. So anyway, I need to talk to him again, but I'm not exactly sure what. I mean, if they want to give us the trail, even if we can't develop it, it's there for the future, for future generations who might be not opposed to the trail. I don't know. Or talking about, there's a trail, but can we reroute it so it doesn't go through people's backyards? Anyway. Comments, questions, we all want a trail there, but we know that there's gonna be opposition.
Oh, yeah, there is,
So-
but then slowly but surely, the opposers are dying off, so, that's the sad part. They see what's going on in other areas. Now, I mean, I went to the ribbon cutting for the trail in Southbridge. And, the sad part is that it ends right at the lower part of Main Street. So you gotta get off at one point and then go over Main Street and then back up on the trail, but you can go now from lower Main Street all the way to, well, as kids, we always called it the paper mill, but the mill in Dudley. You can walk that whole area, which is amazing. I had known the part from the depot going back towards Dexter Russell. That I walked many a times when there was rails there, because that's our shortcut to go ice skating in the wintertime. But the other side, from the depot going to what used to be the bridge over Lower Main Street, never been able to walk that, but now you can walk that. I mean, and it's a nice long walk. And people are already using it daily, so that it was worthwhile. Now they gotta get a bridge over Main Street. I don't know how long that'll take, but at least, they finally go from the depot. You cross by Big Bun, you have to cross on the highway, but then you can walk all the way to Sturbridge. So,
Right, I mean, to my mind, even if you could extend from Dudley across and just get to Route 131, that would be extending the trail from Dudley.
or from
And
Dudley,
then you could,
you can come from Dudley to the Quinnebog line. You can do that also, that's open. But, yeah, you can walk that,
not the railroad,
huh?
not the railroad section. It's all blocked off. They've got big barriers on the rail line. Where are you saying walk?
I think she's talking about in Dudley, from the Dudley paper mill all the way to the Connecticut line is done.
It's
Right, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
we're the Connecticut line, then
Then it
it's
ends,
not ours.
right?
Yeah,
No,
so if you get through Dudley, you can do that little piece that goes to LaPorte. Go behind, I don't think Cordes was there, he was not opposed to a trail necessarily. But then you get stuck then you get to 139.
131, even.
It's right in the
Even
yards,
as
right?
crazy
Yeah,
as it
it's
sounds.
the houses on 131 for
But
sure.
even if like,
Because
So
you
even if
you
you
can
can-
see how close it is, even
Hmm.
as you're driving on the
Right.
road, that it's really close.
even if the trail came out where the railroad tracks cross the road down there and then you rode the road.
Right,
And then at that little park that used to be a little skate park that they got guardrailed off, the trail's right behind there that
Yep.
goes and you continue
if
from
you
there.
if you
Yeah.
could get a protected bike lane to be on 131.
Right.
Yes, but that's now coordinating with DOT. I mean,
Hmm.
as complicated as that is, it's much more likely than that
Right,
the people who
right,
live on 131 are gonna, but a protected bike lane on Route 131
Yeah.
would be a heavy lift to convince somebody of.
Yeah, because even the people that, well, I don't know about now, but when Vino's owned that store. He wanted no part of a bike trail, and we kept on saying to him, do you know how many people are gonna stop here for soda, for a snack or something?
There's
No,
Put a 25-cent air machine over there, and probably,
A what?
an air machine where you
Oh.
gotta put air in your tires and the bike would probably more than pay for
well,
itself there.
no, they're out of that business, so it's the Pakistanis or Indians, whatever nationality they are, they own that one, they own the package store in Quinnebog, they own the
Oh, yeah, this is Neil Patel.
Yeah.
Neil Patel owns the
Yeah.
Quinnebog liquor
Yeah,
store.
the
nice.
two smoke shops, I mean, Quinnebog, 3 smoke shops, one liquor store. I mean,
They all do good business
well,
evidently.
they do, I'll tell you, they certainly do. But,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm just gonna bring it up to Nick when we talk to him.
okay, we're on to, social media, PR, outreach, maps, brochures and flyers. People love those Z maps,
They
you
do.
know, I
I
did.
have one box left.
What's that?
I have one box left.
I have a
Oh,
few.
good.
I have a few.
Yeah, I don't have any more hanging around, but they do, they, kind of like, oh, Z map, they go, oh, that's nice.
The towns that have not previously been part of the program are now going to be part of the program because RC&D had a little grant money left over from something for the
Right.
airline trail, so they're completing the series.
Nice.
But we want, if there's another reprint, at that point, we might be ready to want to do more.
Yes, EDC has traditionally bankrolled that. Because of the budget nightmare this year. This year, that's not gonna be an option. I actually had an opportunity to get a partial reprint by
Right.
glomming onto this order. But the printing and publication budget line was not enough. So what I'm hoping is that near the end of the fiscal year, the tourism district will again pay for a little reprint, but for next fiscal year, I'll have EDC look at requesting enough funds to do another reprint. There's a couple of pictures that need to be swapped out, so.
We have money that we could contribute, we just want to be careful that we don't start taking what might
More,
use
right.
for
Yeah.
other causes. But if we're not moving ahead with this grant until next fall, another turkey trot, if we haven't taken money now, everything works out well, we're gonna be over 25,000 by then, so I'm sure we could kind of keep as our goal, keeping 20,000 in our account through that next turkey trot, anything above that.
The EDC budget thing is because they certainly weren't able to plan for a reprint because of the budget problems this year. If the tourism district doesn't decide to do a partial reprint or subsidize part of a reprint, but EDC ends up with funds left at the end of the fiscal year, that's exactly the kind of thing that we could use as a, let's expend our full budget so that people know we're using it kind of a thing, but that's something we wouldn't know till June.
I'll say for Facebook posts, anything you got that you want me to post on there like that. We went to the thing in Southbridge for the ribbon cutting and stuff, I just posted it on there saying, hey, neighboring town, blah, blah. Like anything we can post on there, we get more and more likes and more people on there. I mean, I think we're close to like 1,400 people that are following that page on
That's good.
Facebook. Not as many people follow the turkey trot because it gets a lot of business closer to the trot time of year, but again, you pick up on that and
The
people
engagement numbers
go way up. Yeah, so I mean, anything, if somebody has something that's trail related, that's a neighboring town, I mean, send it to and we can put it definitely on there, because again, the more stuff that's on there, the more people that pay attention to that stuff, and when we really need to, again, hopefully it helped at the turkey trot.
And stay in tune with Southbridge, because they seem to really want to partner more with us with their events and things,
Yeah.
so.
Did
They can
any of-
promote what they're doing.
Colleen's pictures get over to our site?
Colleen's pictures are still on an SD card in my house, because I haven't been to town hall to give it to Leave and See.
You put I put
Yeah.
some pictures, I sent John some pictures,
Yeah.
and Brian some pictures.
And I thought they were good, they showed like the kids at the fun run and stuff, but it wasn't like
I
on one
couldn't show
particular
faces,
kid, there were no
right.
faces, right? I know, I was looking for that one. So it was
He's-
good to show that there was kids doing it, but it wasn't necessary, I'm sure if it's your kid, it's your kid, but it wasn't just a picture of the kids.
So while we're talking about social media and such things, just over the next 48 hours, particularly if you get any questions posted about anything trails related locally, try to remember to answer by referring people to the Ask Me Anything as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or in your casual conversations. Because I really would prefer it if we don't outnumber the public 2 to 1 or more.
Yeah, because skipping back to Southbridge, that ribbon cutting, it wasn't for the area by the Big Y, because I see that's still construction
No,
equipment
they-
there. and-
They did, they did it off of Crane Street, and, they wanted to do it where the original depot was. And that was the first that I had heard that there was another depot in the town, and it was down by there.
Yeah, I don't know the area. I know
Well-
I've driven past where they have a parking lot by the mill or something by the water, because I went to Karen Graphics for the first time to get signs.
Yeah,
And then I think I drove I was driving. Is it Mill Road or something, just past
yeah.
the town border, and I saw there was a trail crossing there.
Yeah, no, they did the ribbon cutting, and I wondered why they did that
The
also.
Southbridge is further down, it's still working.
I thought they were over in that area too. See, I didn't know.
The ribbon cutting was like way
I went-
in.
I went to the town hall to find out where the ribbon cutting was because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, they were not very good with their information. I went to the town hall, to the town manager's office. And the girl that was there, unbeknownst to me, had only started 2 weeks ago. And I said to her, I said, blah, 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 and she went, and I said, do you have a Walktober calendar? And I thought, oh, okay, so she took my name, took my telephone number. On Monday morning, I got a call from, one of the, offices down there, development. And, she was all like Susie Sunshine, and it was like, do you know that, and she said, well, she only started 2 weeks ago. I said, oh, well, she should have said that, because I thought, this person was like, you live in the town? Anyway, I got the information from her, but, yeah, it was not well set up to say where.
But it was very well attended.
Yes.
It was,
Yes.
because the
and-
people that knew about it knew where to go.
Right, and I just want to say that the other person that I talked to there, introduced myself, was their state rep
Yeah.
in Massachusetts, who said, just tell me when you're ready to get that piece of trail and I'll talk to the Connecticut guy. So.
The actual
On the-
state rep or their congressman?
Congressman
the
Neal,
congressman- Was that who it was? I have his card.
yeah, Congressman Neal. He was there when.
Oh, it's
we,
not Jim McGovern there?
No.
Was that?
It's not Jim McGovern?
Oh, no,
Oh.
Congressman Neal. He's from Springfield
Okay.
and that area, but he was a great help to us. And when we first started our trail out, committee out there, he was there at the meeting, whenever we wanted something. The guy that was the president, was almost like, oh, buddies with Neil, okay. But, him and, there were a few others that were there, a gentleman by the name of, Tom Chamberlain, who was, a worker at the, Westville Dam, which was,
He worked for the Army Corps.
Army Corps, and, he was there. And, Nick Sotar, who was a, bike store owner. Those were the people that, from way back when, I mean, we waited all of these years to see that happen, so. I mean, it was nice to see those guys and, Congressman Neal. I knew him when he had black hair. Tells you how old I am. But, they're working and I'm sure, if you contacted him, knowing that things were progressing here, he said he would be able
He
Push
would talk to
buttons.
his counterpart.
to,
I think Jeff Gordon would be really into it too, being a doctor and into people's health, and that's his zone, right, about?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
the portion of Thompson that he actually represents.
Okay, so we're on to bike route map, or do we want to even discuss that?
No, Charlie didn't update me.
All right, Kinetic Trail Census, you did that already. Equipment tool, status, maintenance, anybody need anything?
All left.
Paul's gone,
Yeah, he dropped out.
all right, then we're on to 65 Main.
So the new board has been having conference calls with our advisors from Connecticut Small Business Development Center. This Thursday, we have a con call set up with her. Her name's Denise Whitford. And Murray Gates, who is a farmer and also works over at UConn. This is sort of the ongoing strategy to try to launch the actual small business center. And next, I think it's next week, the board is meeting because I think I had mentioned to you guys that both the American Chestnut Foundation and this group Regenerative Roots, regardless of any other funding to do any of the other landscaping, are going to provide us orchard stock for some of the area on the sort of upper portion. Chestnut Foundation, I'll be in contact with first quarter next year, easy peasy. Regenerative Roots decided a path of least resistance rather than them ordering the stock and having it sent to us. They sent me a $750 gift certificate for Fedco, which is their supplier. So that actually works to our benefit because, you know, their grant was for orchard plants. And there are a certain number of orchard plants in the plan in the area that I was able to identify, but then it didn't come to anywhere near $750. So I can arrange for, and one of the things we're going to meet about next week with Maura Roby, who is from ECCD, was to talk about how many of the plants to sort of that we should plan on ordering. And then at some point we will have to get them in the ground. Many hands make light work kind of thing. It's not like the landscaping that's going to go down on that bottomlands area. This is something that could be very easily managed. So I'll keep you guys apprised of that. It's not exactly trails, but it's certainly trails adjacent. We went out to bid for the remaining architectural services on the renovations to the house, the interior renovations. We got 2 bids back. We know who we're going to award it to, but I have to get the state to give me their blessing. So it's the bid docs are with the state right now to get their approval. And then hopefully by the 18th, we'll be able to award the contract and then they can finish the design. And then we can go out to bid for the construction. By the time all that happens, the SIF grant should be signed. So I can actually start paying for the stuff. So it's all going to march forward in the next year in some way, at the very least, the landscaping and the design work. So stuff's going on.
Good. Reports from neighboring town, we already talked about the rail trail in Southbridge, so I don't know. Anything else?
I don't know, but Mama has been out of her house for 12 hours, so if we could wrap this up, I'd appreciate it.
Okay,
Well, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I have one question before we do that. I'm sorry. There was that class that was offered up for Karen, I think you sent it from, I think it came from Nick.
Freedom of information.
The what?
Freedom of
The
information.
Yeah,
FOIA
when
class.
is that?
I don't remember.
here in front of me.
Is it next week?
I want to say the 10th.
Like next Wednesday?
I think it is the 10th. I think it was a Wednesday evening.
Okay. I might
And
go
it's,
for that. I just remembered
I
coming
think
in
it-
early evening, like 5 o'clock or something.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I signed up for that, so.
I didn't sign up for it, but I want to, so.
I've
Let's
done
see if I
that a
can get
few
in.
times, so I'm going,
Boy, it hasn't changed.
I know, so I'm gonna go. And I'll forget anyway. Yeah, when do I have to get the minutes off?
Okay, before we close, now you gave me Mike's address,
No, wait, adjourn, and then I'll do that.
Alright, okay, so I made a motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
About 8 o'clock.